Welcome to the main event Fightcast. I'm your host, Vega, alongside my host, Coach Mike. As you can tell, we got a couple of renovations happening, but we're going to make do and make the best of the situation. So, diving right in. Usually we start off talking about like the fights from the past weekend, but something crazy happened over the weekend or in the last few days, whatever the exact time frame was. Some of you guys will know this. Izzy got into a little altercation with a civilian, bro.
As always, he hits me with the curveball early. Whoa,
Bro.
Yeah, that was a little crazy. I seen your boy MMA Guru trying to be like first to report it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know who reported it first. Like I said, I'm not in the breaking news game. That's not where I'm trying to play at all. I did see the clip, and it's one of those moments where at first when I saw it, my instant reaction, I'm sure like many people, my immediate reaction was, damn, is Izzy spiraling? Because you just lost the belt, you just came off of this long layoff, like all this stuff, right? Then you rewatch the clip, of course, because it's only like a minute and like 50 seconds or something. And when you rewatch it, the next thought that comes to my mind, I don't know if this comes to anybody else's mind, but it comes to my mind. Why the hell did the guy get out of his car? Like,
I was thinking kind of like you before I clicked play. But while watching it, he kind of stays composed. He ain't going forward. He's definitely not the aggressor.
He's trying to get away from the situation. He's trying to get to his car.
He's kind of telling them like, don't try me. He kept his guard, but he's not exactly the aggressor.
Right. So, as always, like we'll never really know the full truth of what happened. Whenever like we the only people who were really there as witnesses were with the person who started the altercation. That was in the altercation with Izzy. I don't want to say
was
started.
There from the beginning, because I know the people that were recording was like, because that wasn't the beginning of the situation.
No, and that's the crazy part, right? One of the people who put out a statement was, if they found out, was actually one of the people who was with the guy. So you can't put out a statement saying you're disappointed in Izzy when you're with the person who pissed off Izzy. Right. And for me, I've always said, like, really get mad at how somebody gets mad. You know, and I don't know exactly what was said, what the situation was. Izzy's already saying that they were throwing racial slurs at him and things of that nature. So everybody reacts differently. Would
you say he handled himself well? What?
I think it depends on what was said. Right, like if you got a random civvy driving by calling you a bitch, like, it is what it is, right? Like, what can you do? At the same time, you know, I always say like 6 feet is the space, bro. Like once we're in space, like that's already a big problem. Well, you know, like we're both in danger at this point, and it really just comes down to who's willing to spark the danger first.
Is it fair to say if you were Izzy and somebody was walking that close to your car?
I have a terrible temper. I'm not a good example.
I'm just saying, if you're by your car and somebody is walking that close towards you like that, would you say he handled himself well?
Extremely well.
He handled himself amazingly well. Especially somebody that has the ability to get you up out of there quick.
I'm only stepping back to my car once. If I step away from the car a second time,
I'm by my car. Where are you?
Like, we're not the comfort. Once I turn around,
I think Izzy handled himself well, and that civilian is very lucky to have got out of there. However, he got out of there.
Once I turn around,
he could go brag to his friends. Look, I squared up with him.
No, you didn't. You didn't at all.
To a certain extent, he did.
No, he didn't.
All right, I'm just saying. Think about the UFC roster. We don't know them personally, but will 90% of the roster handle that situation as well as Izzy?
I feel like that's two different things, though. Like,
I'm just saying. Somebody
Izzy handled himself very, very well, which is why the person he handled himself well to doesn't get to say anything positive about himself.
I agree. That's the best he's gonna get out of it. He's lucky he got out of there with no lumps and bruises, bro.
Right, like the best part of his story is he's
like,
lucky he didn't actually have to find out.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right.
But he messed around a little bit.
Which brings me to the thought of what's in the water, bro? Like, what's in the water lately that's giving people the audacity to step to people who are professionals?
I think
right? Like,
stupid's always stupid, man.
Professional fighters is one thing, right? But extending to the entire athletic sphere, because in my space, right, like as a fighter, a lot of what you do as a fighter is athleticism. So being an athlete is already 80% of the battle. You know what I'm saying? Being a great fighter is a completely different conversation. Being a professional fighter, an athletic fighter, 80% of that battle is athleticism. Do you have cardio? Can you take a punch? Can you get, like, those things come into play, and then you evolve from that into a great fighter, right? So with that in the forefront of your mind, why would you step to any professional athlete, especially the ones that play aggressive sports? What are you doing?
Maybe they're taking Izzy's like whole persona a little lightly, like the fact that he paints his nails. He isn't exactly the most threatening looking guy.
My whole bet, people fully understand the power of lawsuits nowadays.
True.
And I think that's all it is. People on the fact that
I'm gonna walk towards him. I'm not gonna hit him. I'm not gonna.
I feel like 99 out of 100 situations, we're not gonna give the fighter the pass. Yeah. You're not gonna give. Not even, again, take away the fighter part. You're not gonna give the celebrity the pass.
Had Izzy put him in them away, all we would have seen is, Izzy's being spiraling. He's being aggressive to a civilian.
That's exactly how I started the video.
But
he's spiraling.
But we would quickly forget that Izzy's by his vehicle.
Right.
This man walked towards him.
Completely defending himself.
Putting somebody in the chokehold and getting them out. Completely sane, in my opinion.
Now
somebody's coming towards me making threatening gestures, and I put them in a chokehold.
Now that you said that, right, it brings me to the value of what I was going to say earlier is, right, like once I turn around from the altercation and walk, I'm not doing that a second time. And the reason I'm not doing that a second time is because once I turn my back to you, I assume the situation is diffused. Mm-hmm. I feel safe enough in how we ended whatever was happening that I can now turn my back and make myself fully vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Up until that point, I'm not turning my back, right? So in mind, it's like, how long do you expect someone to stand here and argue with someone before they get to a point where they say, okay, well, now it's me or you, right? Or in the cases that whether it's a realistic fear or not is what sits in the front of my mind anytime I... Whatever you say, I have to take as the truth. So if you say you're going to get me, or you could, like all of these things, anything that takes us out of the current moment we're in, this is now something I have to worry about for a long time, not just right now, right? So we don't know what was said in that moment. If he made a threat saying he'll shoot him or he'll get him later, or they know where he's staying at, like we don't know the full extent of what was going on. So again, giving that full credit to Izzy and his composure and everything that he held himself to in that situation, right? Like I don't personally, and it might from the fighting world, but look at Steve Erceg, bro. Like there's just certain people that you look at that you're like, I could not imagine this guy being in a UFC cage. If you put him in a lineup, right? Looking at even just looking at the champions, right? Like Justin, put him in a lineup.
The popular one is putting up a picture of Justin Gaethje and like a body.
Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, bro.
But Justin Gaethje looks intimidating in the cage, but outside the cage, he's quirky, goofy.
He's chill. He's just and there's so many people in the sport that are. The influences for what gets you into the sport are not always just wanting to be the toughest fighter in the world.
It's not aggression. I've heard the stories of the bullies and all of that. Khalil Roundtree is one of those guys.
Right. Khalil Roundtree, fighting for the belt right now, openly says, I got into MMA because I was being bullied.
kid, and he got into to sports and helped him get in shape, and maybe it created the monster, the killer instinct in him. But nicest guy in the world.
He's mad chill.
Mm-hmm.
He's super chill.
Now he's a lot more intimidating looking.
Like
for somebody,
he's a brick, bro.
Like, I'm stepping to Izzy 8 times before I'm stepping to him because it's just
the assumption, like you said, the nails, right? The style, the nature.
I'm not saying me. I understand that
the dynamic.
But like
now, I do want to extend. Before we move to the next topic, I want to extend that conversation into a strong warning for people, right? Back in the day, right? People used to say, yo, be careful of boxers, right? Like that's where the whole watch out for cauliflower ear came from, even though that actually comes more from wrestling. But point is the same, right? Everybody was watch out, blah, blah, blah. Things are more dangerous now. Right? Because of one of the things that we just highlighted, right? Like you do not know who is walking down the street taking MMA, right? You don't know what level of MMA they're at. Taking 4 weeks of MMA over someone who's never taken MMA is 9 times out of 10 going to win, right? It's just a theoretical thing that should work out every time, right?
I think I remember a big debate about this. What base is better in a street fight?
The best base for any type of fight, right? Like, yes, we have our anomalies like the amazing Alex Pereira, the incredible Max Holloway, right? Justin Gagey, who was a wrestler.
I believe the reason for it is because imagine getting slammed on concrete.
Right. Or imagine not having to worry.
I don't care what punch comes in. It might turn your lights out.
Even if you remove the idea of like getting super slammed, right? Just the idea of knowing what to do on the floor, right? Like every fight starts on the feet.
Or before that, in the tussle. Because everybody thinks that they're going to have these Mayweather hands or Mayweather defense or Ali.
That
school, my boy was gets into a fight with this big doofy dude and he's messing with him. I'm dying laughing. Because it was a joke. The kid was so slow. He was just messing with him. I'm like, yo, bro, what's wrong with you, kid?
That's ridiculous.
Like,
but
realistically, it's never gonna be that. Isn't gonna get a tussle, and a wrestler is gonna know what to do with it.
That brings me to the second point of the warning, right? Again, this is not in any way disrespecting or attacking boxing. The comparison is strictly factual, right? Back in the day, when you were walking the boxer, that's what you were worried about.
You're not worried about it, but you always gotta get in the back of your mind, like when somebody gets into a stance, like, oh no, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's
right. So that was back in the day, right? Like thinking about like, all right, if you're worried about who you gotta really worry about fighting if you step into a room, these are the things you watch out for, and this is the boxer, right? Now, that advantage or that opportunity you had against the boxer, because really avoid him on the feet and you get him to the ground, you're good. It doesn't exist with an MMA fighter.
No,
it's gone completely.
I think with mixed martial arts, the big thing is the not knowing. Like it don't matter who fought who. Like we both fought the same guys. But he stood up the whole fight against you. I fought the same guy.
And he wrestled
the entire time. Math does not make sense.
And that's exactly my point.
Math does not make sense. There is
in a street fight, when you were just worried about running into a fight and finding out that dude's a pro boxer and you about to get the hands, you was gonna resort to trying to get it on the floor and hope for the best. It does not matter what you do. If you run into a fighter, he can fight you on the floor.
I think it's been a while.
I
think it's been a while for this, but now people are more aware of. Whoa, where he learned that from? You take jiu-jitsu. Because of the popularity of the UFC in the last.
And that's the third point, right? That's the third point. The popularity is no longer up for debate, right? When you watch real TV shows, right, that try to simulate real life, you watch drama, you watch Law and Order, you watch Chicago PD, you watch any of these major dramas, right? The storylines and subplots are no longer pointing to the boxers.
No. You said Belair, and I just remembered that they have.
They're not pointing to boxers.
Who's that? Is that
anymore.
Raz B or somebody? Isn't like a B2K guy? That's
Yeah, I
playing
think that's. I think you got Raz.
Is it Raz B?
I'm not sure.
said-
I don't know all the
know
B2K
the
guys, but ultimately, he's 20
playing-
years ago.
He's playing like Conor
He would have
McGregor
been a
kinda guy.
retired boxer
Yeah, it would've been
whose career blew up and blah blah blah. Now it's a
Or
retired
maybe more
MMA
even a pro, maybe even a retired pro wrestler.
pro wrestler,
Like,
right?
it's
Like
just-
now it's an MMA fighter, right? Like the whole. Ultimately, I'm just saying, yo, stop trying people in public. Comedian, athlete, whoever it is, bro. Like you just
Comedian.
everybody find a little bit of peace. If you want to fight, sign up for an MMA gym, hop in the cage, and let it out. But
I mean, even,
fighting everybody in the street,
even
man,
before,
shit is
think about
dangerous,
it.
yo.
What been weird to run up on? Like, do you think like he looks small and nobody would have ran up on him, and then a little something.
I know you're thinking Rogan, but Rogan was never going to be the one.
No,
Who
I
you
don't think anybody would have tried Rogan. Maybe he's very small, but no, is a more popular guy. Martin Lawrence was a boxer.
Oh yeah, Martin Lawrence
He was trying to be a boxer before, way before comedy and
Yep.
all that.
I forgot about that.
Mhm,
That's right.
I don't know how good he was or whatever, but that'd be a shocker, right? Like you went up to
Run up on
Martin.
Lawrence and what? All right, well that went well.
Damn. That'd have made the comedy show that much better, huh?
Brendan Schaub, for people who don't know, he was an MMA fighter.
Yeah,
but
but I don't
whether
think-
he was a good fighter or not doesn't change the fact that he's better than the whole audience.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's looking at Brandon Schaub and be like, I can take this guy. This guy like 6'5", bro.
Bro, exactly. And the players they exactly like that.
Maybe
bro.
the way he dresses and stuff like that, they'll get at him.
People
But-
getting drunk at a bar are gonna try anybody, bro.
I think people more than know him will try to try him more because
Nah, I think
Brandon
people
Schaub
know-
is he's been a very, very hated guy. Time. Sometimes it's not for the right reasons. Like I love that conversation that him and Joe Rogan had. How he took it was in stride. It might have looked crazy, but imagine I had a podcast, just me, and I had you on my show, and your other career is your career that you're loving right now. I think you're done. You reached your peak right there, live on that show.
That's how you got to do it sometimes.
We'd probably, I mean, not that it'll be unhealthy. We'll argue for a while, but it would be nothing like they just had a constructive conversation. That takes a lot. That takes a lot. So I'm not the one to bag on him all the time. But
I just don't think he's funny as a comedian.
well, yeah,
So
I don't think he's funny as a
something
comedian either. But what is funny?
I don't
What's
think
funny is some of
I don't think the constructive conversation was encouraging him to try comedy.
no, yeah.
Away from MMA.
Step away from MMA. You could do commentary. The fact that you still have you still have your brain cells there. You're not slurring your words like some of the other guys.
And some people are better at watching and commenting on than doing, right? Like that's just a thing that happens.
I don't think he's the guy either.
Specifically for the UFC, but why not for other leagues?
I think the best bet for him in comedy was getting into like movies a little. Making little, yeah.
I mean, as far as
He
the
could
money
be a
goes, he
big,
probably make
big
a little
goofy,
bit.
big goofy guy in a movie. He could play that
I think
role all day.
he'll always get relegated to tough guy. I don't know if you.
I don't.
And then that's the problem. You see other people, and you're like, I can think of tougher guys.
But the thing about Brandon Schaub is a lot of his life is funny, so he can do comedy bits.
Yeah, of course he can.
The first thing I ever saw of him doing comedy was really good because it was him talking about when he. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Was his delivery great? No. But I'm
That's- I
kind
think
of
that's
a tough critic when it comes to comedy.
But I think
I've
that's
watched it all
the
my life.
art of comedy is the fact that everybody has funny stories in their life.
Yeah, but-
right? How do you turn them into
but this is the
comedy?
thing. But this is the thing. Somebody like T.I. gets into comedy, he bombs.
That was a terrible idea.
And him. Somebody like Brendan Schaub gets into comedy and he bombs and they destroy him. You think that Dave Chappelle never bombed?
I think the difference is audience level. When Dave Chappelle bombed, he was bombing in front of the crowds he was supposed to be bombing in front of. When T.I. in front of thousands of fans that he acquired through hip hop that were supporting him and saying, "Okay, let's check this out." So you're in a bigger
I can see
space
that.
of
I can see
people
that,
for
but
judgment.
I don't know. I don't know much about the crowds and that they were in.
Well, think about it. Think about it like this, right? Like, and this isn't speaking, but just knowing how long Dave Chappelle's been on the grind, right?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle definitely performed in a couple rooms where there was like 20 people, right? And in those 20 people rooms, that's where he learned the feeling of bombing. Whether he actually bombed or not is subjective.
Yeah. How like saying bombed is definitely.
No. I'm agreeing with you. Dave Chappelle probably bombed.
No, he talks about I just bombed last week type.
Yeah.
Like in
well,
show
his bombing is way different now.
Exactly.
But,
that's why I'm like, wait, I have to. You said subjective.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like, exactly.
Equivalent, like the equal level. When Dave Chappelle was bombing the way T.I. bombed, Dave Chappelle was supposed to do that.
There's levels to it. T.I. is not going to know how to recover from a bombing. Yeah. Dave Chappelle,
because he hasn't had the practice.
Dave Chappelle could flip the bird off and get into something funny right after. Yep. So that's he's been doing this since he was a teenager.
Speaking of people who've been doing this for really, or not really, when you think about a recent retiree, Mighty Mouse. God. See, Mighty Mouse is interesting because Mighty Mouse is undeniably one of the greatest fighters of all time. But Mighty Mouse also has not had a super long career, much like Khabib, whose career was very long in MMA specifically.
I don't think that's that true though. I think his career was a little longer than Khabib's.
Yeah, a little longer than Khabib's for sure.
But I think it also slowed down when he went to one champion, in the sense that he wasn't fighting as often. He was fighting very often as a champion.
He was fighting as often as people remember because the problem there wasn't a lot of opponents for him.
No, but that's the thing. He was knocking them all off, and there was no like. I think the relationship with Mighty Mouse and Dana is interesting. I think we rarely.
I think it's hilarious.
We rarely ever speak about
Dana. Before you go into the show, Dana has a terrible track record with fighters that he releases. Right, like fighters who leave and go to other organizations, it's almost as if in Dana's brain, a switch kicks on that says it's them or us, and it has to be us. Which part of me respects that die-hard commitment to my team is going to win. Right, like we're winning this fight. So saying, yo, he's not the best in the world, we have the best in our organization, I can respect that. Now, I feel like Dana goes too far, right? Like the Francis situation, the nation, DJ, or Mighty Mouse, right? Like
some of it is even unprecedented. He don't have to do that. He don't. Sometimes he don't have to do it.
I think a lot of times he doesn't have to do it, especially nowadays.
Sometimes
which is why you see him turning a lot of it back.
Sometimes you're being asked the questions. Other times you're just trying. But this is an interesting situation because somebody on Twitter asked a question, who won the trade now? Now that Ben Askren has been retired and DJ now retires. And the answer is Dana White won the trade.
Yeah.
He got to see somebody, champion, one of the best fighters in other organizations who he did not like, come over to the UFC and not be successful.
Yep. Yes.
The one fight he won was controversial. I thought Lawler was out, so it wasn't controversial to me. But it was very controversial, and they let him take a beating. Some people believe they could have stopped the fight when he was getting destroyed by Lawler. And on top of Ben Askren's failed attempt in the UFC, which Dana probably was having popcorn, loving it, and I say that for multiple list of opponents, right? They were all awful matchups for somebody who is considered one-dimensional and a wrestler without power.
Yep.
You get Robbie Lawler, who's an absolute killer and has great wrestling, so he don't have the threat that other people think, like, oh, if he takes me down, I'm done. He tried to get taken down, he murked him. After that, you get what? Damian Maia?
Yep. Who we just looked at it is on multiple records lists in the UFC records book.
Damian Maia is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys ever. Anderson Silva had a boring fight with him.
Yep.
Because is dangerous. And on the other side of that, Mighty Mouse goes to one champion. He's not competing at 125 anymore. He just lost to Henry Cejudo at 125 in the UFC. So he's not the best 125er. Now he's going up to 135. I think he fought somebody before the championship belt. Then he fought for the championship, lost, came back, beat him twice over.
With both times with ugly KOs.
So
my God.
If you're not following how this is a win for
my
Dana,
God.
His second best 125er is 35er at one champion. Some people consider the second best organization under the UFC.
Right.
So that's a victory for the UFC.
And on top of it, right? If you wanna take a stroll into the business element of it, right, and step away, right, on a marketing level, DJ Mighty Mouse is inspiring, unforgettable, legendary for the fight community. But on a grand level of drawing attention to a fight, no one did what happened with Masvidal and Askren and the way that blew up Jorge Masvidal's career. So now you take the idea that you traded 1 for 1, right? A situation where most of us knew DJ was the better fighter in that trade.
And you know what's crazy? That I didn't mention the Jorge Masvidal fight. That was probably the only matchup that favored
him. The only
matchup that favored him.
You walk into the situation. So Dana, on a business level, Dana gets this amazing trade, right, where he proves
on
both sides, and not only does he get to prove that, but through this proof, he gets a brand new journeyman to develop into a $1 million fighter. And what happens with Jorge Masvidal? $1 million ticket.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that Jorge Masvidal is not a great fighter. I'm not going to say that he is an elite fighter. He's probably not going to the Hall of Fame.
Jorge was without the Askren situation, Jorge probably never cracks top 10.
Big star.
And I love Jorge. I don't know if one of my favorite fighters.
I don't know if when he comes back, he's still that big star. How things went with the Kobe Covington stuff. But
I think Jorge's a star forever, bro.
So you think he comes back and he sells? He's gonna be main event fights and it's gonna be good main events.
I don't
see it.
I think that if the UFC wants to, they can create that situation. Jorge star. This is how, right? A main event fight night anywhere in Florida. Jorge Masvidal.
He's not competing.
Main event.
He's not competing with. I mean, him fighting versus Max is huge, but
main event
size-wise, it makes sense.
But again, on the business side, this is the because of who Jorge Masvidal is and how he's always carried himself.
He's a dance partner.
You have another Nate Diaz.
Yeah, but he's not as popular as Nate Diaz. He was on the verge of it though.
He doesn't have to be.
He didn't capitalize like he could have.
He doesn't have to, because our marketing machine, when we look at Jorge Masvidal, we have options. We got 3-piece and a biscuit with Leon Edwards. We got what?
I don't think it sells enough. Those two, that little thing, because it also kills off Jorge when Edwards destroyed.
Yeah, we don't want Jorge to come back from retirement to begin with, so we're only going to get one fight from him. That's the reality. So,
but
like I said, I'm a Jorge fan.
But if you really want to capitalize on it, you do him versus Nate for a third time.
But then you have to sign 2 fighters.
They're 1-1.
Then you have to bring back 2 fighters.
His farewell tour. You think Dana's is holding him off from doing all these business things and not gonna reward him?
I like to live in that space as a fan, but on a business level,
I don't think Dana's.
You got to look at the numbers that versus Jake Paul. You got to look at the numbers that they drew versus Jorge. These are 2 fights.
I don't think that's fair.
It is, because you have 2 fights.
Nate Diaz is not big in the boxing world. So,
but
if I'm Dana White, I should at least be reasonable enough to know, yeah, John Jones doesn't fight sell as a boxer.
Fight community-wise.
He doesn't sell as a
fight
boxer.
community-wise.
Fight
That
community
wasn't a boxing fight. That's Jake Paul versus Nate
Exactly.
Diaz.
It's
Two big-ass names that should sell to the average community because they're the average names. You can say those names to anybody walking on the street. They know who they are.
Well, it's hard for me to say it because I obviously know him, but Jake Paul's name is bigger.
Exactly. So being the B-side against Jake Paul, you couldn't draw.
I walk around.
So to re-sign you,
there's a few teachers that know who Nate Diaz is. Nobody else knows who Nate Diaz is. In my entire school,
I feel like if you walk around, especially if you're talking about in Vegas where they're gonna sell the tickets,
I'm lying. There's another kid. There's a kid, Carlos. There's a kid that talks to me about MMA all the time. He's the only other one. Last year there was another kid. He graduated.
I feel like here's the thing, right?
They do not know who Nate Diaz is.
You could try it and you'll see, bro, if you ask. And here's the kicker of it. If they don't know when you ask if they know who Conor McGregor is. Because 9 times out of 10, they know the Conor versus Nate Diaz fight.
They'll know Conor.
And they know Conor versus Nate Diaz.
A lot of people know Conor because of Mayweather.
And Mayweather. Yeah, that one kind of changed the game too.
That's the real problem. That's the real problem.
But like I said, Nate Diaz doesn't have enough of a draw, and I think they gave him a great farewell fight.
Nah.
He ended up with a fantastic farewell fight. I can't say because they still got Tony Ferguson on the roster.
If Nate would have entertained the Jake Paul MMA fight, then yes, I would believe you that he's not getting a farewell.
Nah, I think that's Nate playing it smart, being a street person and understanding. It would be mad disrespectful who I grew up with for me to go fight for any other organization in MMA. I think that's really what it came down to. Like I give that to Nate Diaz way before I give him any other business level thought on that.
I believe he talked the whole time during the Mazarov press conferences. I believe the fight should be an MMA, but it's whatever. I'm a fighter.
Exactly. So if wanted it to be MMA. So listen. So from a business side, right? This is what I'm saying. As a fan, I want that to happen. But on the business side, you already got one promotion willing to shill out half of the money for this, right? UFC and say, hey, rather than you guys run this fight, we put on the MMA fight that the fans actually want. You guys pay us what you were going to pay to do the event in advertising to advertise your promotion and put on another fight down the road with your own guys.
Yeah.
And that's how you capitalize on using our fan base. Because nobody even remembers the name of the boxing promotion that put that on.
No.
And they have other fighters on the roster.
I don't remember.
So it didn't do anything for them.
Ever.
It did nothing for them. Had it been a Riyadh season fight, different conversation.
They'd all. This is the thing. These guys are all taken back. Who think they could go to boxing and make these numbers, put up these numbers that like Conor did. You're not Conor, bro. Conor had the dancing partner. He was there with Floyd. And before that,
that's the problem. That's the problem with anomalies.
Was Conor, man. Like what Conor did against Eddie Alvarez, as big as he already was, say, I am him, and you go and show I am him.
Now, why are fighters struggling to retire, bro? Why are they struggling to stay retired?
Well, we're talking about Conor McGregor.
We got Conor McGregor. We got Jose Aldo.
The thing is, we got retired, really.
Conor technically never retired. You're right about that.
And the thing is with him,
John Jones technically never retired.
He's still too young to like walk away like this with a bad taste in his mouth. He's still too young. He'd rather go out swinging, and if he goes out, he's definitely going to get another goals.
Do you think that means that the other person who retired this weekend? And I don't want to say he went unnoticed that he retired because they did give him a quick spot, but his career just hasn't been as big, which leads to the question that you just brought up, which is Matt Schnell. Do you think Matt Schnell his retirement because it was a very emotional decision?
I can see it. I can see it because he's young, but I don't know the emotions that he's gone through in camp.
I mean, this past weekend, he was, in my opinion, I would say he was in a good place.
Well, he fought well. He
fought well. They both fought great. Cody Durden beat him on 4 days' notice. Though. That's a really tough thing to come back from.
As fans, we're selfish. We're selfish. We want these guys.
Take.
Huh?
Hot take.
No, it's true though. As fans, we're selfish. I'm always willing to watch Terrence McKinney fight. Knockouts can he take? Seriously.
That's true.
So like, just me thinking about that, like I'm gonna put myself on the hot take. Like literally, why do I love watching Terrence McKinney fight? It's always exciting. Whether he is killed. It's just that lately he's been getting killed, and it's like
my example would be Justin Gaethje, right? It's like for everything Justin Gaethje has given to the sport, if he put out a tweet right now saying he was retiring, I wouldn't want it, but I'd be okay. Well, yeah, like I don't want for everything you've done for the sport.
I'm the selfish one here because I'd be a little upset. I'd understand for him.
He fought for the title 2 times, right? He came up short. He's given us, again, when we talk about performance bonuses, the only reason he wasn't on that list was because other people have fought.
Well, he came from
other organizations. But even in his other organizations, he was getting performance bonuses. So now when you think about like the wars he's been in.
Exactly. I remember the way he was advertised to the UFC, for me, somebody who was not watching him in another promotion, saw a little for the wrestler with the nub. Noel, I think his name is.
Damn. I don't remember his name, but I don't remember. Well,
he was an undefeated fighter that Justin took his oath from, and apparently he was just in straight. The way he was advertised to us was that he was in straight wars. Never fought an easy fight, and he was saying, "I'm searching for my equal," and every fight he seemed to get hurt.
Yep.
And the same was true against Michael Johnson in his debut. Michael Johnson hurt him numerous times, and the dog in him, he kept fighting without Michael Johnson.
Yep. And he was as advertised.
So yeah, if he were to tweet that he's retiring, it would hurt my soul, and the selfishness.
You want to scream no, but like
it'll be
when you give it a thought, you'd be like, damn. Really, the only thing you're just like a little bit lower in the ranking than Dustin Poirier because he never got the interim title.
Lower.
But like same thing with Dustin. It's
I think he did get the interim championship actually.
Gaethje? No, I think he only had the BMF.
I think he might have got it against somebody. We'll have to look at that, but I feel like
the only belt was BMF.
No, I think he had the interim and fought Khabib or something like that.
No, I think he fought Khabib for the belt.
Yeah, but I think he had the interim.
You sure?
It might have been something like that. I could be wrong.
We'll look into it. But either way, like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier.
He's lower in it because we've seen Dustin fight at this level for so long.
Mm-hmm. Right? Dustin is a UFC
but
baby.
I kind of think Dustin's lows are lower than Justin's low.
Yeah, but it doesn't change that they both fought so much.
And they're the perfect math doesn't make sense.
At all.
Math doesn't make sense.
At all.
Dustin knocked out...
The holy trinity of Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, and Justin.
Dustin recently knocked out... Justin recently knocked out Dustin, but their previous fight, Dustin got knocked out by Justin Gaethje. Justin got knocked out by
Justin knocked out Justin.
Went back and forth, but Michael Johnson knocked out Dustin.
Yep.
And Justin debuted knocking out Michael Johnson. Conor knocked out Cormier, and that's when Cormier moved up.
No.
Yes. After Conor, Cormier moved up, and that's when he was a lot more durable.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That run was we see a different Dustin Poirier as opposed to at 145. Yes, at 145 is when Mike and then Conor got him.
Yeah, yep. But those are two guys that, off the top of my head, you're just like, I don't ever want to hear like Dustin already said I'm retiring and I'm not sure if I'm going to fight again. And it's like.
I don't know.
I feel that.
I don't know that he said that. He did. I know he said that he don't have a lot. He's been saying he don't
No. He said he doesn't have any more fights in him. That like the fight against Khabib was on paper as of right now was his last fight.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
On paper, that's his last fight.
But after that,
he's been doing the tour since saying he wants to do another one, but at the same time saying against who? Because there's nobody I want to fight and there's nothing to fight for.
The thing is, he needs to take any that put to sleep, which is exactly what Khabib told him he'll do. Because he was like, I know he's not going to tap.
Right. So
those
are even Max Holloway, right? Like as many fights as he's been in.
I mean,
his striking differential is absurd.
He's never taken. These guys have. He's never been knocked out or all that stuff. But he's been. But
I think that's
wars.
But I think that's a even better example when you look at somebody that's like, or even a John Jones, right? Like outside of the steroid nonsense, right? Like what more do you want from this guy? He's fought everybody he's beat everybody they put in from definitively in most cases. Only has one questionable fight where you're like, he might have lost that one.
That's where the stupid selfish comes in. They're like, oh, boy, he don't want to fight Tom. Like what are you talking about?
For what? Yes, I want to see the fight. Let's not take that away.
Too.
I want to see John Jones versus Tom Aspinall.
I have that same selfishness.
But if John Jones says no?
At the end of the day, he extended his career this long because he got injured. That's the only reason. He would have fought Stipe last year, and he would have been off to the sunset.
Right.
Let him go raise his family and
let him chill.
Leave this violence. Part of the reason he gets in trouble sometimes.
Let him
chill. You don't understand, like.
No, I do hope they have an outlet for him because somebody like that, I feel like you need an outlet.
I do, but he has kids. Maybe he has a chance to just be in their life and be the person he always told us he wanted to be. Because regardless of who he was behind closed doors, the person he was trying to show is the person he wants to be. This Christian, whatever they want to say, it's true. It's what if that's what he's putting forward in front of the cameras every day.
That's what he's pushing now.
It's who he wants to be.
Listen, I'm not here for. All I'm saying is the even with the allegations, it's asking a lot of someone to keep going to this war. Right.
If your heart is not in it, you can't fight. Yeah. That doesn't work.
So whatever John Jones decides, like I said, I've been on the side of he's probably retiring after this time. I honestly didn't even think the Stipe fight was going to materialize. I figured once he got injured, it would just take too long and they would call it a day.
It was just a whole lot of respect given by Dana in letting him.
I can't call it respect anymore.
It is. He's letting him hold the belt for this time.
I can't call it respect anymore, bro.
Dana you think it's deserved,
bro? Oh, this guy's a super fan, bro.
No, you know why he's doing that.
Like, I love super fans. Like I don't take that as an insult.
He's super fanning to double down on his decision. He's super fanning because he's like, I either made a bad decision or I think I made the right decision. And he's like, I still think I made the right decision. And if I explain to these people every day that John Jones is the greatest fighter ever, for you to understand that it's worth it. We talked about this. Does anybody have a chance to get 15 championship wins?
Yes.
Who do you see getting 15 championship wins?
Unless Islam retires early, right now I don't see anybody stopping him.
True. Where's he at?
Right now he's at 3, so he's got a way to go. He's got a way to go. He's got a way to go. But
it's very possible he can lose the belt and go up to another weight class.
It's 100% very possible. Very possible. Nunez coming. Oliveira getting the belt again could do it, which is one of the people who would put Islam at risk.
Yeah, that would make unlikely.
That would be so like exactly when you put the people in front of Islam, it's super
until
unlikely.
Until they do it.
But then that's where the steroid into play and the steroid catches do come into play because how many of those 15 wins would he have without the steroid cases, right?
I don't know. I don't know that he never popped on those fights. The one he popped for, it would have been 16 when he knocked out DC.
No, he popped on.
That was the no contest, bro. The win.
Was that the one?
Yes, no contest.
Oh, okay. But just because that's the one he got caught on doesn't mean like all the other ones he didn't get caught.
I can't speak for that. Picogram stuff.
But nonetheless, it's what more do you want from him, right? Like, are people asking? Are people saying, oh, because some of those championship wins are tainted, he's got to get another 7 to prove it. Like, no, that's stupid. What are we talking about? Like, the dude is a great fighter, whether he's on drugs or not. The drugs helped him be stronger as a fighter. So maybe there's something there. But technique-wise, I always say, man, you can give you technique. So when you get out technique, you lost the fight.
Man.
It is what it is. All right, we're running a little long, so let's dive into. Actually, real quick, I just want to highlight a couple of the fights from this past weekend because there were some stunning wins.
Well, the perfect segue would be about having to deal with all these mixed martial arts now outside. You see somebody in the boxing stance. Well, our boy is to start off the night. Ziga, he underestimated the Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills of Nathan Fletcher and got.
I don't think he underestimated him.
That was his take. He
said it himself.
That was his take.
Well, if that's his take, I can't argue with him.
And when we were watching it, it makes sense. He took him down. Ziga got taken down a couple times, and he was able to. He was able to roll
position pretty easily.
He was able to reverse it. Mm-hmm. So in the second round, maybe he was tired from holding that lock. Fletcher was able to get him in an arm triangle, and it's just mixed martial arts, baby. It
was a rough one.
Never know. He didn't have to grab the glove or anything.
Chill, we're not there yet. We're at Andre Petrosky was a boring ass fight against Dylan
Boring
Budka.
Fight, but domination.
And then it led to Jacqueline Almarim versus Vanessa Demopoulos. And listen, she definitely had her hand in the glove. That's not even the question, right? The question will always be for me, why are you not fighting?
You can tell the ref that her hand's in the glove while you're defending.
Keep fighting, keep screaming, keep fighting it, keep screaming, right? Because you end up in the armbar situation. Once you turn to the ref for any hope that he's going to save you in the fight, you lost the fight, right? And this is the same. This is also a rule you can take in your real life. Into a real fight, the moment the thought comes into your head and you're looking to anyone else to come into this fight, you lost the fight. For whatever reason, you lost the fight. Right?
Buddy, come save me.
So in that situation, like, yes, Jacqueline Almarim 100% had her fingers in the glove. She got it by the ref, and there's nothing. But
appeal.
Outside of that, I think Jacqueline was still kind of winning the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was going to get tired for round 2, like most people were expecting to happen. But Vanessa was doing a decent job, keeping it together. Overall, they had her fingers in the glove. That is not
100%. What percentage did it help the submission? That's up to debate. But whether she cheated,
that's up for debate for sure.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
she 100% cheated.
Yiza came out and did absolutely no wrestling, but fantastic, wild fight. Like, these guys really went in there and just brawled it out in a real crazy.
Gabriel Santos is pretty impressive.
How many face kicks did he take? Front kicks, bro. Front kicks to the face. I feel like he took 3 of them, John, bro. One of them sat him down. Like, one of them, you get front kicked in the face and sit down and get up and go to a decision, you can stick around, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing more Yiza.
I thought he was going to say he won a fight.
Nah, he didn't win a fight, but you can stick around, bro. I want to see more Yiza. Close, amazing win. That was fantastic all around. He did his thing. Felipe Dos Santos versus Andre Lima. This one was kind of surprising because how many times are you allowed to be told to let go of the fence? Because I counted 6 in the first round alone.
A basketball world, and if I'm playing defense and the referee kept telling me don't do that, I'm gonna call a foul and never calls a foul.
You're gonna keep doing it.
I'm gonna do it. I might even push it a little more.
Apparently, you and Andre Lima went to the same school of thought, bro. Because Andre Lima was holding the fence as if that was part. He was playing as if he was on the challenge, bro, and it was like one of the challenges, bro. Is there a fence holding challenge in? Because I want to submit a fighter, bro.
Bro. I'm telling you, like, until you take a point from these fighters, they're gonna continue to do it.
I think we gotta get to a point where only do we have to have the rule in place, but we also have to have a rule for the rule, right? Like, there's only one warning you can give, right? Like, once you say, I'm giving you a warning.
Then we're holding the ref accountable.
Yeah, once you say something to the fighter verbally,
that's the word.
That's the warning.
That's
that is
hard warning.
Let go of the fence. Hard warning. Nothing else from that point. Because like you said, if you give me 15 warnings, yeah, I'm gonna take all 15, bro. Why not? I'm gonna go the 16th time.
If even one of them, I'm willing to do it one time, and it helps me survive.
Especially if it saves me from a really bad position.
What? That's the whole fight.
We got that.
Could easily be the whole fight.
Isaac Dogarian. The fight went a lot longer than people thought it was gonna go, but Isaac Dogarian dominated this fight, proved himself to be a minus 3,000 favorite where he ended up. And there's not really a lot to say about that fight. Did everything he could. And that just wasn't the fight for him. So I have zero judgment on Brendan for that fight. And I'm looking forward to seeing his next fight because, Jesus, Isaac Dogarian is a monster, bro. And if he keeps this going, belt or not, him against Ilya. Like, for the title or not, I don't care. I just want to see Isaac Dogarian versus Ilya Taporia because
it's a long way to go.
This is one of those moments where I'm like, yo, fuck the rankings, bro. This would just be fire, right? Like, I would never actually push for that. I didn't even think.
That's so far away.
Fire.
So far away. Yeah. My eye hurts just looking at that. Just looking at that matchup.
How Taco doesn't get performance of the night is mind. Because the accuracy of the elbow that he threw. Bro, he threw his elbow. It was so pinpoint that Rangju thought he caught a finger in the eye.
He was pointing at him. He was like he's telling on him. He's like, police! Bro, it was him.
I just finished playing Ghost of Tsushima, and he had this same reaction, he did it, bro.
It was him.
It was literally the most fearful, like, what did you just do to me?
Like, he was holding his eye, and the other, he was not, that's not no fighting stance, bro.
Yo.
Held his eye and pointed.
Vision of pure emotion taking over, bro. His body had no idea what to do.
I've never seen one shot do so much damage.
Every part of him wanted to stop the fight, bro. Everything in him was done in that moment, bro.
I'm lying. There was one more.
What did more damage?
What, bro? You remember landing that knee on Cyborg? Chris Cyborg's ex-husband? Bro, it cracked his skull. He reacted like he got shot. He went, bro.
Yeah.
It cracked his skull.
So, I can't really judge which one damage-wise, but reaction-wise, right? One man reacted like he got shot. One reacted like he saw the devil.
Lord, he's right here, Lord. Lord, he's here. Come get him.
I don't know
Come get him, Lord.
I don't know who Rangju was talking to, bro, but he was talking to somebody. He was like, yo, that man right there gotta be arrested, bro. So, oh man, Chris Padilla, that was we studied. Shout out to the ref. I don't know who was reffing. I usually look it up, but our setup's a little different right now. So whoever was ref, shout out to the ref because he did the most right things of all the right things he could have possibly done right.
I mean, if you see somebody doing this,
yeah, no. He still let him fight. That's what made it the right thing of all the right things because he gave him a second. He let him try to fight. He gave him a couple. I want to say 25 seconds to see if like he was going to be able to fight through it, if he could see through it, what the option get. The thing ballooned up so fast. 10 seconds, bro. Like
10 seconds.
Ballooned up 10 seconds
a second
maximum,
and a half.
Bro. Maximum 10 seconds.
A second and a half,
like, that
and
shit
it was
needs
already
to be studied.
moving. It was
right?
Like,
it
was already like Pinocchio's nose, bro.
But I'm talking about when it reached peak. When it 10
It was
seconds
growing,
max.
bro. Like Pinocchio,
Max.
bro. Like wow. I'm like,
So I think he made a very, like I said, the most perfect possible call to give it a couple seconds, see what happens. Called the doctor as soon as the break was good.
I'm stressed thinking about that right now, bro. That was like I love this sport, but that was vicious, man.
It was a fight night. That's why they don't get performance of the night. You don't get performance. You don't get bonuses on prelims on fight nights. So that's why. Trevor Peek versus Yanal Ashmos.
Skip that.
You can never count out Trevor Peek. The dude is forever. Matt Schnell versus Cody Durden. We talked a little bit earlier because Cody Durden snatched that was out of a video game because positioning, everything about the way he got to that was not exactly textbook, but he pulled it off. Steve Garcia.
More controversy.
Fair enough to get a performance of the night bonus. A little bit of controversy.
Oh, I didn't realize they gave him.
There's only a little bit of controversy.
It's not a little.
Only a little bit. A little bit. It was in the middle of a roll.
All right, so
it wasn't a clean elbow.
Which one affected the fight more, the glove or that?
The glove.
Yeah?
Yeah. So and I say that so quickly because the elbow that hit the back of the head 100% happened. If you're on the internet saying he didn't hit him in the back of the head, you're a complete liar.
How can you say that when there's literally evidence?
The elbow that landed in a roll.
The elbow that grew on the back of his head.
Yeah, he grew an elbow.
There's completely evidence.
The one that landed and did that damage, roll. So it wasn't a clean elbow, right? Because of that, you can't do anything with it, right? It's the same way that a nut strike, right? If it's not, if you can clearly see it wasn't intentional, right? Like, if we get the moment, we separate the fight, but you never see a nut shot happen and a ref apple if it results to that to break it up and say, hey, you got him in the nuts, right? Like, if it stays standing, they break it up because there's a breathing moment and they give it to him. But that's kind of what happened there. So, yes, took an elbow to the back of the head.
It's tough.
It's a tough one. Now, if you where you say, any elbow to the back of the head is going to stun you in a way that makes it harder to keep fighting, I'm also not against that. Not against that. So giving him the win, I can't argue.
Accidental or not, he didn't even get time to...
He didn't get a chance to recover. So I could give you that. I'll say he shouldn't get performance of the night. Definitely not performance of the night. But can't give it to prelims. Who else do you give it to?
Performance of the night, you know who it was. But they got fight of the night.
Fight of the night.
I thought it was Natalia Silva.
Performance of the night because she didn't do anything spectacular in the fight.
But she pitched the shutout.
Huh?
She pitched the shutout. She won every round.
Oh, yeah, she definitely won every round.
She
performed incredibly, but she had a couple of hooks going into it.
I mean, she's in a fight. She's
splitting hairs, yeah.
I think I hate her performance more if she didn't get touched at all, because it means Andrade never gave her a fight. Andrade was game.
That's a common misconception, I think. And I think that's one of the things that gives Khabib so much trouble with his career, right? Being dominant is not the bad thing, right? So in a striking match, the way what dominance looks like is Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar, right? Like that's what we would have seen if someone like Jessica Andrade's fighting.
But that doesn't take of a Brian Ortega versus Max. Brian Ortega touched Max a couple times,
but not getting touched would have made that more impressive on Max's part, not less. In this case, especially looking at the opponent, Natalia puts on the performance she did.
I guess I'm just saying more for like it's entertaining.
It's not as fun.
To be fight of the night, it has to be entertaining.
Right.
If I pitch a shutout and I just don't let you touch me and hit you a bunch of times,
and
we're not gonna win fight of the night. I might get a performance bonus.
That's the difference.
But we're not gonna get fight of the night because I don't got the dance partner. Right. She had a game fighter that was throwing the big bombs.
That's
footwork to stay safe and get her offense off.
A lot of movement.
As I was watching that, I was like, this is straight out of Rose's playbook. It's not the same footwork, but this is straight out of Rose's playbook of how she beat Andrade the times that she did.
Moving around.
Just moving her feet. about while striking and get on your bike. I wouldn't say on your bike. On your bike is more running, but striking and not staying in the same spot.
Yeah.
Like you see me here, but I'm no longer there as I'm hitting you.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's what we expected.
It was a beautiful performance. I don't know that it was night.
It was fight of the night because when you think because of Jessica Andrade, the B-side.
Because like you said, the prelims can't get it. Yeah.
No, even with the prelims, I would still give it to them. Fight of the night wise.
I don't know, man.
To Taco.
I thought the match how do you say his name now? Schnell? Cody Durden versus
Cody Durden?
Yes, exactly. I thought that would have been fight of the night if it wasn't the prelims.
The prelims. That was the main card.
It was. So that should have been fight of the night in my opinion.
I didn't think so.
It was a great fight. It was a great fight, and it had the comeback.
It only lasted one round, and the comeback was kind of sloppy.
It wasn't in the second round?
It was in the second round. So, it only really went 1.5 rounds, and the comeback was kind of sloppy. It was a really, the comeback was a bad choice by Master. Excitement-wise, it was exciting, for sure.
The thing is, she absolutely should have got performance of the night. I don't know that you're giving Andrade fight of the night with her. But she was definitely game. She was trying to get her out there.
I think if she would have been untouched, that's how you get performance of the night. Because again, I think
still looks
and I understand the mix up.
Yeah.
I understand the mix up because when you think performance, you're thinking the entertainment because that's usually what we say, perform, right?
Yeah, but she led that dance.
But they're talking about
she led that dance is why I'm thinking performance.
Elite performance. She led the dance, but Andrade was able to keep up. So what Natalia Silva did was say good enough to fight the champion. She didn't go in and perform in a way that said, yo, I'm so good, the champion isn't even a conversation.
And as good as Sean Brady was, he could have done more to get it.
Same thing with Sean Brady versus Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, if you wanted a performance bonus, you could have done a little bit more.
Could have done way more. Way more.
Only because Gilbert Burns looked like he wasn't there. Like, you have to get him out of there.
Yeah.
But
also,
smell blood.
I don't know how many 5-round fights Sean Brady has had. I think this is his first or second.
Exactly.
And when we compare him to the champion who beat Gilbert Burns as well, round fight, and Gilbert Burns threw his shoulder out in the first round. So you couldn't beat a one-arm Gilbert Burns.
Oh, but Bilal didn't finish him either, right?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So craziness.
And like I told you when we were watching the fight, Bilal's his best fight of late has been against Sean Brady. Until he got him hurt and knocked him out.
Yeah, his best performance.
His toughest opponent has been Sean Brady.
Yep. And Sean Brady said during the press conference, listen, the Sean Brady that fought Bilal gave up on himself. That's where I lost.
I mean, he's not calling him out our Irish boy. What's his name?
Machado Gary.
Yeah, Ian Machado Gary.
All right, but as you guys all know, we're going to end this one strong because this week we got the Sphere. It is UFC Riyadh season. No change UFC.
Dana doesn't pay you. How excited are you for this? From a 1 to 10.
1 to 10. Okay. And you guys, it's actually that's the perfect number because there's 10 fights on this card. So we're gonna actually find out exactly how excited we are out of 10. So we'll go now. We'll take it one by one.
I don't think that equals it, but I respect.
Nah, it definitely does. It's exactly equal. Now, event-wise,
because the Rojas fight could be a 2 for me, while it makes up for another one that I'm not really excited for. I don't know the fighter.
No. Like fight for fight, are you excited? Yes or no? Right, and then we see out of the 10, how many of them are you excited for versus not?
I see what you mean.
So you have to decide. Like yes,
but I'm saying that the main event, the co-main event, that's more than 1 point to me.
That's hilarious.
It is. I'm excited to see.
Okay, so but we're just going to yes or no, right? But before that,
I said the co-main event. I'm sorry, not that I'm not excited to see Valentina. Because I think Valentina's going to win the belt back. I'm more excited to see Ortega versus Lopez.
All right. that one.
That's
before we get into this little quick game. As far as the Sphere as an event, not thinking about the fight card, right? I'm really excited for the event. I wish I could be there.
I want to see this amazing thing that they say.
95% of the internet people bashing this event. Wish I could afford to be there. Right? Like you all wish you were there. That's why you're mad. That's all you're mad about.
We wish we could afford it,
right?
But because we can't,
we're mad.
This isn't as crazy as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, like don't downplay.
But apparently this event is more about the experience.
Right. So I'm hoping that they experience-wise for people watching on pay-per-view.
Yes.
That's an important thing, right? So hopefully we still get some
camera
sort of cool
angles
experience.
or
something cool. I don't know. Definitely not the camera angle that they used on something. They used something recently that showed it from like the cage, seeing something that should look bad. I didn't like it. So that's the concern. And the concern is I am really excited about the idea of the film, right? So they have a film playing throughout the event. So we're not getting any commercials through this event. So that's the rumor right now. No commercials. Riyadh season event, they've paid for everything, no commercials. Right? So from start to finish, it's supposed to film, like 15 minutes of the film, fight. 15 minutes of the film, fight. 15 minutes of the film. A film they made completely in dedication to Mexican fighters for Mexican Independence Day. And they got this Mexican director, I forgot his name, I'm so sorry I'm blanking on it. But has done a few documentaries out of Mexico. He's coming up in the industry. So really great to see this complete, at least for me, embodiment of Latinos in Hollywood and in entertainment that's coming to life. I wish I could have been a part of the team putting it together. That shit would have been super dope. But again, is the honor of all the Mexican stuff. So
listen,
another key element of that, De La Hoya tried to bait Dana White. And Dana White came on and was like, yo, check this out. Canelo's fighting that night because it's Mexican Independence Day, but we're also going to be honoring Canelo in our film, this whole film I was just talking about. Watch throughout tonight. So I'm assuming they're probably going to put the pieces back together and you'll be able to watch it as one thing outside of this.
He thought
he ate, bro.
He thought, because, listen, just because you hate Canelo just as much as you, or less than, you clearly hate Dana less than you hate Canelo right now, that it was a peace offering. Dana's not stupid.
Bro, Dana don't have any beef with Canelo. He never has.
When has he had beef
with
Canelo?
The only thing, because that's the thing, Oscar was playing to the old mentality of the promoters of there can only be one. Like, people really need to wake up to the understanding that for all of the bad it brings a lot of good to the table. And one of the things that's good, like we talked about a few episodes back, Dana White's dream of getting a UFC event playing on 1 billion screens across the world is now realistic. Before, it wasn't possible at all, right? And in that same vision that he has, now it opens the possibility where a fan doesn't have to make, like, scratch that. Fans get the opportunity to even consider decisions because before, TV networks told you what options you had to watch. So it was going to be UFC, Bellator, one championship, we're done here. Now you can watch LFA, WEC, you could watch, I forgot the Women's League.
I'm no good with this, man.
Damn, I forgot the Women's League. But ultimately, you see the point, like, you can watch so much content. Promoters don't have to attack other promoters to promote.
Well, you got Dana White doing his
Dana White's running 3 different UFC promotions out of the Apex, bro.
While doing Dana White Contender Series, he kind of shouted out Calvin Cater's promotion.
No, that was during Road to the Show.
Road to the Show. There you go.
Looking for a fight. This is how many promotions Dana's running.
Many,
like, you can do so much.
This is a fighter under his banner, and he has his own promotion. Jorge Masvidal has his own promotion.
Uriah Faber has his own.
I believe it's bare knuckle MMA.
Yeah, bare knuckle MMA.
Like
my personal favorite. Uriah Faber has his own. Khabib has his own.
I don't know the Eagle thing is still going.
Yeah, it's, that might be caught up in the tax situation with the whole Russia feds. Anyway, on to the game. All right, so let's see how many fights we're excited for and if this is a 10 out of 10 card. Starting with fight number 1 on the card for us. This is the prelim, but at this point, it's at the Sphere. I feel like everything's the main card at the Sphere, so it's just the card. Raul versus Junior versus Orichi Lang.
No idea who that is, but yay.
You don't know who Orichi Lang is? Mm-mm. Oh shit. Well, I think the A and the B be phenomenal. Orichi Lang. This is kind of becoming an Eastern Asian fighter staple where they are kind of like zombie fighters where no matter how much they get hit, they don't stop. And I think that's going to be the toughest test that Raul has faced so far, especially knowing that he lost to Christian Rodriguez.
Can he defend the choke, though?
Can who defend the choke? Orichi Lang? Yeah, I think he has good submission defense. Not great.
You know where Raul's going. Raul's going to the ground, and he's going for submission.
I hope that his second fight in the UFC resulting in a win didn't erase everything he learned from his first fight. Because if he did in his first fight, he loses this fight. He's not going to outlast someone like Orichi Lang. All right, so we're at 1 for 1 so far. Fight number 2, Edgar Chairez versus Joshua Van. I feel like this one kind of cheated a little bit because they just added Joshua Van to the card a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. But they get my number 2 on this one because I watch Joshua Van, man.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Mexican on this one, Edgar.
Edgar Chairez is a low-key dangerous submission threat. So this should be a really interesting
Joshua Van usually brings the fight, so
brings a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yaz versus Ketlin Souza. This is a no for me.
I have no idea who they are.
Usually I'm really excited for women's fights, but I've never enjoyed a Yasmin Yadagui fight. But, Mexican Independence Day, got to throw her on the card. Ketlin Souza, don't really have too much that I've enjoyed watching her on. Looks like Yasmin is a heavy favorite on this one. I don't 100% know why. But you know how we think over here, man.
I mean,
sprinkle it.
They might throw Mexico a bone or a Brazilian coming up to
sprinkle it.
Brazilian coming to just spoil her party.
So we are at 2 of 3. Up next, our 4th fight on the night is Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. I am shocked that this is a dead even card or fight in the odds because I'm not super familiar with this. But Bahamondes is a monster. He's a monster. This is gonna be like the odds alone tell me this is gonna be a fight, bro. Because Ignacio goes to war, and if they put somebody on the A side, representing Mexico, so yeah, I'm 3 for 4. 2 for 4?
4 for me.
All right. Next up, Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. This is going to be the snack fight. Go get something to eat. Order your pizza. If you feel like taking a walk with the dog, buddy already knows this is right here. After Irene Aldana's awful appearance against Amanda Nunes, I've lost all interest in watching her fight. And I'm not a big Norma Dumont fan either. So... yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I have some excitement for it, but I won't give. Maybe half a point.
3 for 5, and you are 2 for 5.
2.5.
2.5. He's gonna give him the half. That's terrible. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. Always excited to see.
Yay.
Who you?
Both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm always big on Ode Osborne.
No, those are.
Flyweight is always an exciting division as far as I'm concerned. Like, those guys are just flying, bro, literally. So what's that put us at? 4 for 6 for me, and if you want to keep this nonsense going.
Why you gotta do that? They get a half point.
This one right here? Esteban Ribovic versus Daniel Zellweger. I am on the Esteban Ribovic side. I believe he is going to win the fight. However,
that makes it exciting for me now because
I think it's going to be crazy.
I'm excited to see what this Daniel kid has been chirping about.
Yo, he's definitely got the hands. I understand why he's the favorite, even disregarding the Mexico part. I can see why he'd be the favorite, but I think Esteban's got just enough in the submission game to pull out something sneaky and always be dangerous. So should be hella exciting with this fight.
Yeah.
So 5 for 7. 4.5 for 7.
Yes.
And now,
This is
we
where
already talked about this one a little bit, but Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez rebooked from the fight that was supposed to happen. What number was that? Whatever card that
it
he
don't
was
matter.
saving. Oh yeah, you're
I'm
at 10.
I'm at 10.
You're that excited for this fight?
I'm at 10 already, bro.
Brian Ortega representing Mexico, even though he is on the UFC roster as a United States fighter, versus Diego Lopez, who has the best English, Spanish, and Portuguese of any Brazilian fighter that I've seen today. This is going to be one hell of a fight. The same way we were excited about it before, I'm excited about it now. So that puts me at a strong 6 for 8.
I am 10 for 8.
Next up, the women's flyweight title bout we've been waiting for, even as an Alexa Grasso fan. I have to admit, Valentina Shevchenko was cheated in that last fight.
She won that fight.
But we still get the trilogy fight we were going to get no matter how that fight went down.
Exactly.
So, Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Of course, we're both excited for this one. But excited to see it go down.
Excited, but not, yeah.
I did confidently put a bet on Alexa Grasso because I am of the belief champions grow while former champions slow. And they slow because of how long they've been fighting, right? So Valentina may have already reached her peak. And the fact that the last fight went to a decision that could even be considered a draw by any measure, right? For anybody who thinks it wasn't a robbery, right, is already problematic for Shevchenko. And this is just...
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that I believe that Valentina won that fight.
Yeah, but so even if she won, it still went to a very close decision that would have gotten us a rematch anyway and put us in the same position.
I agree. The only difference is who walks in with the belt.
And the person walking with the belt has the better training most of the time.
Most of the time.
Right? So, I think Alexa Grasso is going to come in. Also, tough curse. Alexa's team lost. The team that loses, the coach usually wins the fight.
Yeah.
Again, ridiculous nonsense, but tough curse.
Ridiculous.
Shevchenko won. Her fighter did better. Her fighter did better. Wild way to say that.
I actually think Alexa had more people in the finals. I mean, in the like make it to the tournament.
She had more people make it to the tournament, but Shevchenko's fighter won.
Yes.
And that's what matters in the tough curse. I definitely sprinkled some on Alexa Grasso. And rounding us out, I am at a strong 8 for 10 on this card with Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. And
so you're 8. I was, if I'm being 0.5?
Yeah, 7.5. It's not bad. That's a great card. And then you add in all of the antics that are going to blow our mind that everybody's pretending that they're not excited for because they can't actually go in person. It's going to be a fantastic night.
It's going to be a good card.
It's going to be everything Dana said it was going to be from the beginning.
No, I won't go there because Dana, he promotes hard sometimes, and I don't think he realizes when you already called your home run, you did the Babe Ruth, and you hit that home run, you don't want to call for it again prematurely.
So here's where I disagree, right? Dana said the greatest combat sporting event. The only thing he has left to pull that off. This is an 8 out of 10 card, right? 300?
7.5.
300 for me was a 7 out of 10 card going into it. There was 3 fights in there. I don't even remember what they were. Aljo was one of them. I was not excited for that fight at all. I know Aljo's a wrestler. I know he's going to wrestle fuck this guy. There's nothing exciting here.
I was excited for the fact that he was moving up.
You're moving up.
Is a tough opponent.
We talk about moving up weight classes, but you're moving up 10 pounds, bro. When we're talking about wrestlers, that's not significantly impactful the way it is in boxing. Wrestlers are throwing people around all day long. They deal with 10 fluctuations of 10, 15, 20 pounds all day.
Well, my thing is,
when we talk about it on the
him being strong, him being Not him cutting 10 pounds less.
That's what I mean. He's
It's a big
getting
difference.
stronger,
It's
so
a
he's
big
gonna
difference.
so he's gonna do the same thing he was already doing, just better. So I wasn't excited for it. But ultimately, what I'm saying is an 8 for 10 on the fight card, plus whatever level of antics he brings to the table, that's where it comes into play, I think. But real quick, I do want to touch on something before we go. Right, Merab has seemed to enter his villain era. He is beefing with everybody, bro. So obviously he's got the beef going on with Sean O'Malley. That runs deeper than just the title fight. For those who don't know, look into it. Rob are on the same camp. A lot of hostility between the two camps, including the coach Tim Welch. But recently, he was chatting up a storm about Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, I wouldn't be so speculative on this and so much of this villain stuff if it wasn't for the fact that there were some shots in there that I don't think were necessary. Umar is a decent fighter, and yes, he's really hasn't fought anybody to get him to the point where we're talking about title fight next, right?
He convinced you he's our next champion.
He convinced me he's the next champion. I don't think I wouldn't be mad if there's 2 fights in between. Like, if he gets a title fight next, I'm cool.
I think 2's a lot.
I say 2 because to side with Merab for a second, he hasn't fought anyone really meaningful. The most meaningful name he fought was Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah,
and even that was a fight he was expected to win. So Corey giving him a challenge. Now, I said he will be champion one day because I saw a very well-rounded fighter in there that I think no one can really take on right now in the division, right? Him versus Sean O'Malley.
I think Merab is a terrible matchup for Umar.
Depending on how he does against Sean O'Malley striking.
100%.
Because Umar has way better striking.
Not better striking than O'Malley, though.
But not better than O'Malley. But he is better than Merab.
But this is my thing. If Merab beats O'Malley...
Oh, he's holding the belt for a while.
Then, yeah.
He's holding the belt for a while.
Umar should take 2 fights in between before jumping in again.
It's not worth it. Take some time. It's not worth it.
Because...
You're gonna taint yourself. You're gonna make everything he said seem real.
Yeah.
Especially because he threw all the shots at you about being a family man. Right? He said the only reason you're in this position is because your cousin is Khabib. Like, he threw a lot of stuff in there that I can understand the argument. I never really respect it because I don't like people for your hard work.
I don't see it as a villain error. If it would be a villain error if some of it was malicious and untrue.
I think it's malicious because it was uncalled for.
I don't think it was malicious. I think it's called for from him because he had to do so much for a title shot.
It's uncalled for because nobody... It's uncalled for because even Umar, I don't think all of that spitefulness needs to appear, even if you feel.
No, but it's the same frustration that like a rapper would have if he's trying to headline a show, and he has to do X, Y, and B. Then you come along, as Vega. He don't gotta go through X, Y, Z, and like you just got to the show later than me. And I'm the headliner, and I'm seeing you, seeing you skip the line.
In music, it's harder to definitively prove.
No, but it's the same thing because I'm the headliner. But you're held to a different standard.
But it doesn't change the fact that it's not something you can definitively prove, right? Like in music, right? If you're singing, right, and Beyonce's daughter is an option to sing, we assume Beyonce's daughter has Beyonce's vocal pipes. She's gonna to you without having to work as hard, right? Because there's no concrete way to know who's better. Umar versus Merab gives us a concrete way to know who's better. So for me,
and guess what? If a 30-year-old singer that's been in the business for 10 years gets bumped for Blue Ivy, see, they're gonna feel some.
But there's gonna be a lot easier ways to defend it.
I get it, but once you interview them, they're gonna speak on it.
Right, but in that case, they can't definitively prove it, so you have to defend yourself, right? In this case, Merab, you're gonna fight him at some point, no matter how you look at it, right? So your job is to let the fans do all that speculating and the tossing and because that type of tear down to me is not worth it, right? If you're confident you're gonna beat him, to me it screams not confident. Yeah. To me it screams I'm worried that this guy is gonna be next because he shouldn't be next. Is gonna take away my title shot, and he really doesn't have in his list that he's beat for him to be able to take away my shot from, like, that's craziness, you know? Instead, just stand your ground on it, bro. And then if you want to throw all that extra shit after you beat him, feel free. But until you fight him, I think the only thing you should be commenting on is why you're a better fighter.
I don't think he should be focused on him. I think he should be focused.
That's the question. So
yeah,
in that case, you know, like that's one where again on the fan side,
especially
stop putting fighters in positions we don't want to see them. We don't want this fighter thinking about his next fight. So why would you go to him and ask his about
especially we already seen them meet each other, be respectful, like
right.
If you become an opponent,
silly.
You can do all that, but till then, let it rock. Don't make no sense.
Well, that wraps the show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into the main event Fightcast. Appreciate you guys a ton. Like and subscribe. Again, we're so bear with us, but it should be pretty exciting and pretty dope. You can follow me at What Up Vega. You can follow Coach Mike at SF Big Mike. And we will see you guys next week.